Hello, everybody, and well, we're back. But this time, we're doing something a little bit different to the regular Evolution 2 play. Today, we're doing a bit of DLC speculation, and I thought it would be a good time to look back on what has come before. I didn't do this in the Planet Zoo. Great. Lawnmower again. Anyway, I didn't do this with the Planet Zoo one, probably because I didn't think of it, but we have had several DLCs for Jurassic World Evolution 2, and let's go through them. So first up was the early Cretaceous pack, which gave us Werasaurus, Zongaripterus, Minmi, and Chronosaurus. Then we got the Camp Cretaceous Dinosaur pack, which gave us the Baryonyx trio, the Monolophosaurus, Ouranosaurus variant, Kentrosaurus variant, Bumpy the Ankylosaurus, Scorpius Rex, Big Edie the Tyrannosaurus Rex, Toro the Carnotaurus, and the bioluminescent Parasaurolophus. So there were two different Parasaurolophus skins, one with a blue crest and the other, which you can see there, with a pink crest. Then was my personal favourite, the Dominion Biosyn expansion, just ignore the lawnmower, which gave us so many awesome dinosaurs. First up, the Dreadnoughtus variant, then the Dimetrodon, which is actually not a dinosaur, the Dilophosaurus from Jurassic World Dominion, Rexy, the Tyrannosaurus, the Quetzalcoatlus, the largest flying creature ever known, I'm pretty sure at least, Hatagopteryx macti, Pyroraptor, the three Parasaurolophus skins, yeah, there's a lot of Parasaurolophus skins in the game, and I'm here for it. It is brilliant. And the Therizinosaurus, the feathered T-Rex, and the Giganotosaurus. The most revolutionary thing in that DLC was definitely the feathers on dinosaurs. Then we got the Late Cretaceous pack, which gave us Barbadactylus, Australovenator, Alamosaurus, and Styxosaurus, which had a bioluminescent gene in it. Then the Dominion Malta expansion, which gave us the Atrociraptors, the Oviraptor, Morris Intrepidus, Lystrosaurus, Iguanodon variant, Dimorphodon, Carnotaurus skin, and Allosaurus skin. I would love if that was a variant because it looks different enough from the other Allosaurus that it would be great to put some new skins on it. And coming to what we're talking about today. So, the first of these speculated DLCs I have had for a while is the Camp Cretaceous Manticore expansion. Now, Manticore was featured in seasons 4 and 5 and throughout the show, to be fair. And they have their own little quirks as a company in general, just like Biosyn. And there are several species from seasons 4 and 5 and the rest of the Camp Cretaceous world that would make fine additions into the game. So the new species first up. The Spinoceratops, being a hybrid, would be a canonical addition as it was only featured in youngster form, but thanks to Jurassic World Live, we have a picture of what it could look like as an adult. Then the Tarbosaurus from Hidden Adventure, an interactive episode that is set between seasons 2 and 3, but honestly I don't know where else the Tarbosaurus could make its appearance. And looking at the pattern of 4 new species per pack, I think this would complete the roster in here. As well as the semi-aquatic Nothosaurus. Really interested to see what would be done with that. I've heard speculation of a ramp added to the lagoon to allow semi-aquatic species to enter the water. And maybe aquatic species to grab creatures from outside the water. And probably the most ambitious animal in this DLC is the Smilodon. Would be the first mammal, and, well, putting a Cenozoic mammal in without mammoths and other creatures of the Ice Age, it would be a bit confusing, but in time, I'm sure we would get more mammals. And it was featured on Manticore Island, so it only makes sense for it to appear. I was even thinking of the Big Edie skin and Cantrosaurus variant having like temporary access in like the campaign mission to boost boost the cannon, I guess. It would it would make sense for them to be there. As with the variants, we have the Dilophosaurus 2016 variant, which had had two skins, well, at least two franchise skins. Okay, so when we're coming into these variants, I have sort of thought that you could just carry over the skin system from the previous dinosaur. So with the Dilophosaurus, you'd have these two skins, the one with the yellow frill and the pink frill. They would be their own skins, but you would have the skin system from the other Dilophosaurus, which would, to be fair, make sense in this regard. Same with Spinosaurus 2016. Though it would be far larger than the current Spinosaurus and have a different model, it could also utilize the skins of the in-game Spinosaurus. Then we have the skins. Now, the skins I probably took the most time on, because there were several dinosaurs from Camp Cretaceous that, well, were kind of missed, in my opinion, and would add to the roster of animals that players can use to recreate scenes from Camp Cretaceous. Because these specific skins, not all are pictured here, but they are central to creating recreations of those fine episodes. So, we have the Cenozoic 2016 A and B. So A would be the grey one, which was, I believe, Maria. Sammy named it in episode 2 of season 2, I believe. And the orange one has been featured throughout. Brachiosauruses A through to C have been featured throughout the series, and they look different enough from the current one to be included. Ceratosaurus 2016, A and B, so one would be the red one, and the other one would be the grey one. I almost feel like it should be a variant, but I think working as a skin with just a changed head sculpt and sculpt in general to the current Ceratosaurus, it could be a variant. It could be easily made into a variant and have the same quirks as the other two variants that I've included. Even the Stegosaurus seems like it should be a variant, because Stegosaurus 2016 A through to C, the model is a bit different because you got a lowered tail, and unlike the current one, it has a beak. So it would sort of be a mix of the Jurassic World and Jurassic Park Stegosauruses. And coming to some of the most notable, Little Edie, with Big Edie being included in the first pack, it only makes sense for her daughter to make an appearance in the game. Then we have Velociraptor 2016, which was the two raptors on Manticore Island. I think it was two. It could have been three. I have no clue. And Toro Burned or Crispy. This was a skin I would have loved to have seen in the previous Camp Cretaceous Dinosaur pack. But if it was included here, I would honestly love to see it. And since Toro is now on Manticore Island, makes sense for him to be included. Now comes the new features. So the biodomes, which were featured in seasons 4 and 5, which include the desert, the woodland, or is it woodland or forest biome? It could be either. The swamp biome and the Arctic tundra biome. These, judging by the image I have here, would stem from the main control center and go out in the northwest side of the island. I don't know what orientation or any other geographical things I'm missing here that would be needed to understand this, but each biodome would stem from the main control center, and each dinosaur or other prehistoric animal would be required to live in there. So yes, Manticore Island would be another map added to the game, and it would be a very interesting one as you have these 4 biomes to work in. The Hidden Adventure roller coaster would be a great new attraction to see, as well as the bioluminescent cave boat tour. That would be a fantastic thing to utilize the bioluminescent parasaurolophus in. It would be really cool to see. Semi-aquatics. basically providing a way for Spinosaurus, Pyroraptor, and the Nothosaurus to enter deeper water to swim around in. It would honestly be such a cool thing to see. You could recreate Jurassic Park 3 with the Spinosaurus attacking the boat, the Pyroraptor under ice. I mean, that would be a really cool thing to see if, like, in the uh, alpine and taiga biomes, when it snows, like the water could freeze over a bit. That would actually be really cool to see. And Pyroraptor can just go onto the ice and then just dive down into it. Manticore buildings, gates, fences, and paths. So the paths would probably be like dirt paths because I don't think there are any other kind of paths. But also the paths that were inside the tunnels that led to each biome or biodome. They would be great inclusions, as well as the gates. The gates would be awesome to see. They are really cool looking gates. And the fences could be like just the walls. And you have holographic generators, biome walls, biome specific walls to make it look like the dome is bigger than it actually is. Can Cretaceous style buildings. So the Can Cretaceous itself would be awesome to see as a new hotel. A Can Cretaceous style zip line, that would also be really cool to see. And the tour truck and tour gate, they would also make fine additions. Now, the one thing I was not really wanting to include because I was not a big fan of seasons 4 and 5, but Manticore is an interesting concept. The Brads and Brad X's. Now, robots was very unexpected for me, and I know of a few other Jurassic fans who, well, the robots were very out of the blue for them. So having them here only does only make sense, but they would take place of the Ranger, Capture, and MVU teams on the island as they did in the show. Yeah, they're just part of the Manticore, well, concepts, and would be good for creativity. I just don't really like them that much, but that's just me. Now, this is a system I'm almost hesitant to suggest, but it would be so cool to see a custom hybridization system. So we saw in Cretaceous that Manticore was experimenting with all sorts of dinosaurs, and they managed to create the Spinoceratops, which was a mix of the Sinoceratops and the Spinosaurus. And seeing that as an idea could make for a great update feature, allowing players to mix different dinosaurs. Now, different species would have to be compatible to make successful hybrids, so stuff like I've provided here, Ankylosaurus and Kentrosaurus makes Ankylosaurus, Carnosaurus and Pyroraptor make Carnoraptor, and you'd also have super hybrids, which would be stuff like T-Rex with Ankylosaurus making the Trichosaurus. There is a little bit of overlap with other Jurassic World games, but these are just examples of what's possible. So it doesn't have to be these animals in particular. I mean, it would be nice to see them, but those are up for speculation, the hybrids in general. So hybrids could mix with others of their own kind. So Indominus Rex with Indominus Rex makes Gen 2, Indoraptor with Indoraptor makes Gen 2, and Scorpius Rex could just go to Gen 2, although it could go to Gen 3. Gen 3 could be the limit for most dinosaurs. The ability for players to experiment with more hybrids is a boost of creativity, and it would be fantastic to see. And this sort of system would be a great opportunity to reintroduce the Spinoraptor, Ankylodocus, and Stegoceratops. Interesting thing with Stegoceratops is that it could have two variants, one being with Pseudoceratops and the other being with Triceratops, like in the first game. And yeah, I was confused as to why they weren't in the base game for Evolution 2, but if they were to make their appearance, it would be fantastic. And the Pseudoceratops 2022 variant, which was skimped over in the Dominion expansions. It looks different enough from the current Pseudoceratops to have inclusion. Like, look at that head. It is spectacular. And if it was to use just the same skin system as the current Ceratops, you could have the male variant and the female variant, and they could coexist. That'd be great for the free update. Um, so the 30th anniversary dinosaur pack is something I would theorize it as 2023 is the 30th anniversary for Jurassic Park, and I thought it only made sense to include species that were from Jurassic Park in the canon and from the books. So the first one is Microceratops, which is a species that was featured in Jurassic World Dominion but was not included in any of the expansions. So this would be a fantastic way to make it into the game, as well as Cenozoic, possibly the only dinosaur out of the original Jurassic Park that was featured in the park itself that has not made it into the game. It is very similar to Coelophysis, but it would only make sense to include it, even though it's a very obscure dinosaur, an exciting and valuable addition nonetheless. The two below, the Hadrosaurus, was actually in the Jurassic Park novel, and same with Ornitholestes in the Lost World novel. And these two species, even though Ornitholestes does look a bit similar to Cenozoic, it would be slightly larger, I would say. That would be a good call, and maybe give it a ridge on the nose for a bit of ability to identify it from others. And for years it's been debated whether Ornitholestes actually had a little ridge on the nose or didn't, like a little crest on the nose, like in Walking with Dinosaurs. But this is a speculation video, so anything is possible. Lockwood Manor Dinosaur Pack. So this pack includes species that were featured in the Lockwood Museum and Lockwood Libraries. So Aguja was the massive ceratopsian skull in the center of the museum that ended up killing the Indoraptor. Peloroplites was a skeleton on Isla Nublar and in the Lockwood Library itself. Concavinator and Mononychus are dioramas in the library. The other dinosaurs in that library were stuff like Dilophosaurus, Velociraptor, Dimetrodon. We got Dimetrodon. We have Velociraptor and Dilophosaurus from the start, and these were the only two that I could see being worthy additions. And people have wanted Concavinator for a long time, so I thought this would be the perfect way to make it into the game. The Isla Nublar Dinosaur Pack. So this includes species that were known to have existed on Isla Nublar. So the Coelurus, another small carnivore. We don't have enough small dinosaurs, so it's good to see more that could be included, as well as Naponosaurus, which is fairly similar to Cretaceous and some of the other hadrosaurs, but if it was on Isla Nublar in the canon, it only makes sense to include it, and who knows how you could work it into your parks. Lesothosaurus, I really don't know what kind of dinosaur it is. I didn't do that deep of research into it, but it was discovered in South Africa, and well, Southern Africa, I should say, because Lesotho is its own country. And it was on Isla Nublar, and would make an interesting addition because it doesn't really look like many other dinosaurs that are currently in the game. So, yeah, I don't have a lot to say about it, but if it's in the canon, it's in the canon, so let's get it. Pterodophonius, another tyrannosaurid, would be a interesting addition. It was actually made as a prop for Fallen Kingdom, but it didn't make it into the actual movie itself. I mean, it was there, but I think there was meant to be a frame onto it for a second. Like, I think Owen was meant to look at it as they were about to go into the bunker. And it was also supposed to make an appearance in the chase scene. So, well, I say chase scene, more of the stampede from the volcanic eruption, where in a concept scene, it was meant to try and take a baby Triceratops, and then the mother comes in and takes it out, let's say, makes it extinct. The feathered pack, which would include dinosaurs, they're technically all dinosaurs here that have feathers. So for the aviaries, I thought Archaeopteryx would be a fantastic addition. a small early bird, let's say, that was discovered. It's one of the oldest fossils, I'm pretty sure, and it's a very important fossil as well. It led to the discovery that dinosaurs did have feathers, and this came to some of these other species. So Utahraptor, a large dromaeosaurid, would be fantastic to see. Imagine that taking on T-Rex, just bigger velociraptors with feathers, though. Eutyrannus, one of the only large theropod dinosaurs to have been known with feathers. And it would be great for like snowy parks to get with that theme. And lastly, Dinochirus, the largest ornithomimid in the world. Well, in history, to be fair. It does look a bit like a giant duck, but it would be a formidable opponent to any large theropod with those huge arms, which I think is the largest of any dinosaur. Yeah, they certainly look it. Um, it's a very odd addition, but would be a fine addition. And lastly is the most ambitious, the Cenozoic expansion. Now, as an expansion with creatures that have not been featured in the franchise before, there are no real requirements to make skins or variants of them. So I took the opportunity to include 8 animals, like in the Planet Zoo animal packs. So, flagship, of course, Mammothus, or the woolly mammoth. Megatherium as a giant ground sloth for this pack. Megalania, the giant lizard from Australia. Forest Racus, we need a terrorbird. Terrorbirds are awesome. Argentavis would be a great addition for the aviaries, as it was, I believe it's the largest bird of prey ever discovered. Well, at least one that can fly. Because I'm pretty sure terrorbirds got bigger. Elasmotherium, a single-horned rhino relative, or it was a true rhino. We really don't know when it comes to paleontology. It's all theory, and we can never really be sure because who knows what nature came up with for each of these species. Megaloceros, there are lots of megas in this pack, but that is down to the fact that it just means large animal. So we have Megaloceros, the largest deer species, I'm pretty sure, unless that goes to Savalsis. Go to either. They are both really big. I'm pretty sure Megaloceros got to the size of a moose, but had far larger antlers. And lastly, an animal that many thought was in the base game. I remember that. That was actually very interesting, and it got so many people hopeful that we actually had Megalodon in the base game. Would have been cool, but it turned out to be a Tylosaurus's tail fin. But if we were to get Megalodon in any pack, the Cenozoic expansion would be perfect for it, as it is a large species from the Cenozoic era. It did not live with dinosaurs. For those who think that, I don't know who does. But yeah, it would be great for the lagoons. And for those who want to uh, see what happens when a Mosasaurus and a Megalodon fight, see who wins. Yeah, so that's the DLC speculation for today. These are the only ideas I could come up with, but I would love to hear yours down in the comments below. I do read them. Like and subscribe if you like the content. I've got a few more videos planned, but I just thought I got this one done because I have been wanting to do this video for a while since I finished the Planet Zoo speculation. So, see you in the next video, and have a good day. Goodbye.